Welcome back. This time we're talking about Nocturnal Animals, the second film from writer-director Tom Ford, after his well-received debut effort, A Single Man, in 2009. Like his first film, Nocturnal Animals has been receiving quite a bit of positive buzz as it slowly expands around the country. This past weekend was the first chance I had to go see it, and I have to say I left pretty disappointed. Now, Nocturnal Animals is a very well-made film. For the most part, it's well-directed. It's got great cinematography and some phenomenal performances from its actors. I just have some significant problems with this story, both from an emotional standpoint as well as how the entire film is structured. Now, this was never going to be a mainstream movie. It definitely has that art house feel, like a couple other films I've seen recently, like Moonlight, which was a much, much better movie than this one. But even taking that into account, I just can't get over my issues with the story. The film follows an art museum curator named Susan, played by Amy Adams. She's already dealing with a series of problems, including insomnia, a husband who may be cheating, and some issues at work. But all of that takes a back seat when she receives a package from her ex-husband, Edward, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. He has written a book entitled Nocturnal Animals, which was his nickname for her when they were married because she never slept. Upon reading the book, she finds that it's filled with violence and depravity, and it affects her a lot more than she ever thought it might, both for the content itself and what it represents because of how their marriage ended. Now, if you've seen the trailers, that's essentially the story that we're led to believe that we're going to get. And more or less it is. The thing that we don't know is that a good portion of this film, I'd say almost 2/3 of it, is actually the book itself, showing us the events that she's reading. And the book essentially takes over the movie, following a family of three, including a father, played once again by Jake Gyllenhaal, this time playing Tony, along with his wife, played by Isla Fisher, as well as their daughter, who are traveling through a vacant stretch of Texas when they run afoul of a group of three locals, and bad things happen from there. Now, I will say the story of the book, Nocturnal Animals, that Susan is reading is actually quite interesting and compelling, if a little cliched. The problem is we never get that kind of investment out of Susan's character. The film seems to go out of its way to show that she cannot relate to your average person, which includes most of the people that go to a movie. And thus her story is just not terribly compelling. As I said, what is compelling is actually the story of the book. The problem with the book is it's a book in a movie. Whenever you approach a work of fiction, whether it's a book, a movie, a television series, the first thing it asks you to do is suspend your disbelief. Because you're going to have to believe that the characters that you meet are real people. It's the only way you're going to care about them, root for them, root against them, empathize with them, whatever the fiction asks you to do. In the case of Nocturnal Animals, Susan is a real person once we suspend our disbelief. The same can't be said for the characters in the book Nocturnal Animals that she's reading, because while they may be real to her while she's reading them, that doesn't make the second leap to us. So we just can't care as much about those characters, even though their story is much more interesting than anything we get outside of it. And that's one of the biggest issues I have with this movie. Now, as I said, overall, this is a well-made movie. The cinematography is beautiful, the editing is well done, and we have some really strong performances. While the film has been billed as an Amy Adams movie, and she's very good in what she's asked to do here, this is really Jake Gyllenhaal's film. He's on screen much more than Amy Adams is, playing both Susan's ex-husband Edward in flashbacks, as well as Tony in the book story. And it's here where he really shines. He delivers an incredibly strong performance, as does Michael Shannon playing a cop that he encounters during the story. The other standout is Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who plays one of the locals that Tony and his family run afoul of. And there really isn't a bad performance to be found in this movie. Sadly, I just don't think the story lives up to those performances. Now, I truly believe this is not a case that I just didn't understand the movie. I understood what they were attempting to do. I could see what their end goal was. I just don't believe they made it. And the result is we're left with what I frankly believed was a very anticlimactic ending, because it relied on us caring more about Susan's character than the script gave us reason to. This is a well-crafted movie with some great performances. It's just not one that I can recommend to you. There are just better movies out there to spend your time and money on. There's a better film with Amy Adams and Arrival. There's a better film with Michael Shannon with Loving. I will say I'm quite curious. If you've seen Nocturnal Animals, what did you think of it? Do you completely disagree with me? If you do, please let me know. I'm honestly curious because I just did not enjoy this film nearly as much as it seems like other people are. As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some other reviews, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.